Any good conversation, does start with food.
Yeah, I was supposed
You
to
missed
say.
your line, brother.
Yeah, I missed your line.
Any good conversation, does start with food.
Of course, Joel, and I want to start by bigging up Taco Dan on these lovely tacos that we're about to delve into.
Well, I gotta start. I want to start on a slightly ticklish topic. So you are Quan, who is an artist,
Right.
and there's Quan, the artist. Have you ever found that you ever had a problem, let's say, when it comes to putting out your music or performing, anything like that?
Well, the reality is that there's going to be conflict, and let me say for sure, big up Quan, the artist. Definitely a huge fan, and for a number of years he's been putting out some quality music, so kudos to Quan. But the reality is that there will be conflict, and we saw it last year. Obviously, Quan, the artist, had a tremendous season as it relates to his soca release. But for me, it's just about remaining true to myself. Me as Quan, there's no doubt that my name will remain Quan, and it's just about continue putting out music and building the brand, and that's something we're very heavy on this year.
All right, that's interesting because you mentioned the fact that you will not be changing your name, and I was wondering, if at some stage somebody might have to change their name, but clearly not. Take me now on the journey of Quan with an O. Of course, we know there's Junior Monarch for you in those days, but take me even before that. What, I guess, were some of the early influences for you when it comes to music?
Well, from young Joel, the passion was always there. I think from the time, I knew what music was. I always had a love for it. My father actually used to sing some calypso, so the influence was always there. Going to crossover events and going to the calypso tents even from a very young age. Sometimes you don't really understand, what is actually being said, but there's a love for it. And that was always me, in the house performing and mimicking that. So it became natural almost. And as I got older and I really began to understand more about calypso specifically, because that's obviously where it all began. I definitely wanted to get into the Junior Monarch competition. Like, for me, going to Junior Monarch was something I look forward to every single year. And in those days, it sounded like it was like 30 years ago. But back when I was a youngster, Junior Monarch used to be like very, very solid. The competition was ding dong battle every single year. So the love just grew from there, and I longed to get on that stage for a very long time.
Before we get to the next question, big man, don't be ashamed, right? Taco gang, cool, eat taco.
Of course.
There we go. We gone through the early influences. Now take me to just being in Junior Monarch and what that was like as a young man being on that stage performing.
Yeah, in 2017, Joel, was when I actually got my first break into Junior Monarch. And the first line of that song was, for 6 years of trying to make a mark in calypso, 6 years now we're knocking on the door. And that song was called Why I Sing, so of course big up to the Water Street Boys on penning that brilliant calypso. And that was my first real break into Junior Monarch, but I've been trying, as the song says, for 6 years prior. And it was tough, and because you're young, as I said, Junior Monarch at that time was a very, very fierce. It was very competitive, and you're young. You're now learning your craft, and so it was always just about improving for me. But unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't good enough to make it past. But as I said, the love was there, and for many years, I would be competing, going to preliminaries, the Queen's Park Steel Shed, and unfortunately, some years messing up, something going off key, whatever it was, something was happening. But I unfortunately didn't make it past the preliminary stage. As I said, in 2017 came and I got this song, Why I Sing, and was a lot older, began to understand a lot more what's required, and it was just about getting on stage. And when I got on stage, as everyone saw, it was just a passion, a natural passion that came out.
All right, so why I sing? Why do you sing? Like, why do you sing? Why does Quan sing?
Well, calypso is about the voice of the people, and that's what I learned. That's what I learned from young. And apart from being that voice of the people or the voice of the voiceless, it's just a passion. As I said, it almost comes natural. And some years, I even say to myself, maybe I would sit out a crop over this year, but when that season comes, even sometimes from January, you're like, whoa, I cannot wait for this thing to come. I can't wait for competition. I can't wait to hear the releases for crop over. And you almost just have to be a part. It's like, I can't do without it almost.
No, that's Junior Quan. Let me go to Big Quan now. I mean, you're really too big because height ain't really on your side, but we into the Pic-O-De-Crop side of things. Now, I ain't get a chance to bite because I hate on my my last little piece here, so don't think that I starve out by the way, but now we into the big scene of things. How difficult a transition was it for you to just enter now that big stage?
I find that to be a hard question sometimes, Joel, because coming from Junior Monarch in 20, well, coming off of 2 wins in 2017 and 2018. Actually, no, I think it was 2018 and 2019, the old brain. But then going, obviously we had the COVID hiatus, then going to Pic-O-De-Crop in 2022 and winning, how can I say that? It was difficult. You know, it almost seems like that was almost natural, but the reality is that it was a very difficult task. I mean, Pic-O-De-Crop being probably the most difficult competition and most anticipated competition in Barbados, to naturally come from Junior Monarch and just go onto that stage is always difficult. But luckily, again, I got a brilliant song from the Water Street Boys, and it was just natural for me to go on stage and just perform. I think that's one of my major strengths, and I just like to go on stage and free up, and luckily I was successful that year.
You talk about staging and freeing up, and I want to take you to something I saw recently on social media. It was different, and it was free up. You was on top of a counter, big man. So is it fair to assume that you were slightly making a transition in terms of the type of music that you're making, because once again, you put on top of a counter?
Well, music brings out a different side of me, any kind of music. So I almost every day when I go home, there's a gentleman who actually compliments me on how I performed at Pic-O-De-Crop finals in 2022. He's like, it's something that he's never seen before, and so I try to take that into, even though that I'm doing soca music, it's like energy is very big for me. So how you bring over your song is how people are going to take it. And you have this song this year, Roadway, written by Sadis, and people are definitely taking it in well. And it's just about enjoying myself once to get on there. So big up to the Squash family, because they really took in the song and made me feel comfortable on that performance. So I was really just about performing in I went down to perform in the audience. They were like, get on the counter, you know. So big up to them for sure. And it's just about doing what's best for the song and the performance.
No problem. That leads me now to ask then, is there a difference between Calypso Quan and Soca Quan?
Definitely not. And for me, music is music. Calypso, what I'm saying Calypso, what I'm singing Soca, or even what I'm singing dancehall, I don't necessarily like to put myself in a box. I'm an artist, and I would have started singing Calypso. I'm singing soca music now, and obviously still sing Calypso because we're still competing in the Pic-O-De-Crop competition. So for me, it doesn't matter what I'm singing. It's just about being a well-rounded artist and giving music my best foot forward.
No problem. Now, we talk all this seriousness. I want to get to the heartstring side of things now. Final question for you. We know why you sing, but take me to that feeling. What is that feeling that you get, when you're on stage, when you want to counter, when you just, in your element? What is that feeling for you?
It's truly electric. And sometimes I tend to shock myself. And as I would have told Nick, even on the same counter situation, it's like, sometimes I can't imagine myself in these spaces. And when you actually get there, and you're actually there performing, as I said, it comes natural, and I just try to perform to the best of my ability.
Well, finish your taco, and we can finish this interview with Quan, who is an artist.